Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm Jennifer Riccio. This is Ask and Answered by Soul, the video series, Soul N. So today we're talking about Soul N, empath, and branding. I am so excited to talk to Stephanie Gunther today. We're going to talk about what it means if you're an empath and how does it impact your branding. And I love this because I'm been an empath, since I've been a little peanut. And when I was younger, Stephanie, I would go into a not that, I mean, I was in my 20s or 30s. I would go
Right.
into a casino and I would want to play like 18 slots all at the same time because I didn't know I was just scooping up the energy and feeling that vibration. So,
Mm.
welcome, Stephanie. I'm so excited that you're here.
Yes, thank you. I am so excited to be here.
Yay. Okay, so let's get everyone on the same page and really talk about two definitions. I'm
Yep.
going to talk about empath and you'll talk about what it means to be, branding. So tell me what you mean by the word branding.
So, branding is such a funny word because everybody has a different definition of it. But really, the way that we see branding here in my business, which is called Wax Creek, is that branding is really like the sun of your universe. And so it's all of the things. It impacts every single thing in your business, whether you realize it or not. So we are of course talking about your logo and your visual identity, but way beyond that, we're talking about what is the soul of your business? What is the strategy of the business? And what are the words that we say? Who are we connecting with? What's our reputation? How do we treat clients? It's all of those things. And so that's why my belief is that it's right in the middle.
I love it. And for me, empathic really means that you have this sixth sense. You can actually feel what other people are feeling. And it's really key for empaths to actually clear their energy to understand what's theirs and what someone else's, and not kind of step in everyone's goo and ingest that, right? We can
Right.
understand what people are feeling, but if we're actually feeling it and keeping it as ours, it's going to wreak havoc in both our lives and our businesses. So those are some general terms, everyone. We're not getting specific. So Stephanie, as an empath, how does that really impact branding? I mean, where can it go kind of unconscious and where can it be
Mm.
utilized as a gift? Because it
Yes,
is a gift.
and that's such a great question because when you really go through the right kind of branding strategy and you're looking at what is the soul of my business, we find more often than not we're actually permissioning the business owner, or even the leadership team or whoever it may be, to actually be who they already are. And so what happens, especially I think for women in business, is that we start out and we have this idea of who we are and what we want to bring into the world, and we're feeling all the things about it. We're especially sensitive to everybody else's feelings about it too. And so we start deviating. We get a little unsure, we get insecure, we get imposter syndrome, and we start making weird shifts because we saw somebody else do it or because we got feedback from somebody. And we start to lose focus of what really is the brand at its core and who is that person. And when you do that, that hurts your brand. And so we create a huge disconnect in that, and it can be really tricky, and so it's important to stay right in that spot and really be confident and clear on what that is and what it looks like.
Yeah, and I love that. So often I'll pull up a website and I'll be like, why are those colors there? Like it doesn't work with the person, doesn't resonate with their energy, right? I call that what you're describing business by jury, right? You go over here and
Mm-hmm.
you ask a question, you go over here. Before long, you don't know what you're doing or you're unclear because you've ingested everyone else's beliefs, opinions, right? So,
Yes.
I love experts. And listen, I'm not an expert in everything. I don't want to be an expert in everything. I know the more I know, the less I know. And it's really important to get those people that are experts in their field, but also listen with your gut, right? There's a difference.
Mm-hmm.
And I think so often people don't know the difference between resistance and not resonating with. So,
Right.
right. So, resistance is this kind of, you feel this kind of push pull in your body. You're actually charged by that situation, right? Not
Right.
resonating is how I feel about cauliflower. I don't like cauliflower. You don't
Right.
hear me going, oh my God, why don't I like cauliflower? I need to like cauliflower, right? Right?
Right.
Right. So really be key about resistance and resonating. And I think so often when something doesn't resonate with people, they've been taught, oh, you're just in resistance. So when you really truly know what doesn't resonate with you and do it with something that doesn't really matter, right? Because that's the easy way to do it, like
Mm-hmm.
cauliflower, right? It's just, I don't like it. There's no judgment there. Then you can bring that into your business. So when you're helping people understand their brand, what are some of the tools or tips that you utilize to get them to really resonate, align, be one with their brand, actually be authentic about it?
Yes, it's it's easy to understand who we are as a human being and to understand the characteristics and all the personality traits that we bring into the world. It's harder to make those connections in a brand, and it's especially hard if you are the human and the brand at the same time because it's hard to know if we are the same people or if we're different characters. It's that gets where it gets really gray and fuzzy. One system that we love to use in our entire business and process is built on is brand archetyping. And there's a lot of information out there on brand archetyping. We use a system looking at 60 different archetypes. And the reason that's so important is that is the permission piece. People are always, they kind of chuckle a little bit when they see their archetype results. And it's like, oh, you're an angel caregiver mixed with a magician. And they're like, that is exactly who I am. And it resonates because it is who they are, and it also is the permission that this is also who your brand is. And so let's figure out what the voice and tone is for this character of the brand. And there's going to be some overlap between the brand and the human, and there's going to be some differentiation. And so when we can kind of draw those lines in the sand just a little bit to be like, this is you, keep it over here, this is your brand, lean into that. It is that permission forward to know exactly how to show up as the brand and how the brand should look and feel. And so that's where we start to see that those magical results. But I'm telling you, honestly, it comes from the ownership of the business owner to be like, now I know who I am and who I'm not, and I have permission now to be that. And that's the most magical piece of the process.
I love that. We in soul language, we identify the personal soul and the business soul, right? And
Mm,
all and 9 out of 10 times they don't have any energies in common. And when I tell people their business, they're like, yeah, I totally get that, right? Yeah, that's the business. And sometimes when I identify their personal soul, we do the personal soul first. There's confusion there. And they're like, well, why do I identify with the business so much? I'm like, because the business doesn't have any of your pain and program, right? It's
right,
pure energy. And it's so important for people to understand that even if you are the business, it has that own agenda. And I love that it has, that kind of, yes, this is you, yes, this is the business. That's sometimes that separation, because it's so important to really understand what that energy that you called in is here to kind of accomplish and be
right.
and do, and have that non-adversarial relationship with your business. I think so often, especially when branding and marketing and PR, people can be really at odds because the human goes, I don't know, I just don't know, I don't know. But when they
Yeah.
have that archetype, that soul language, that allows them to have that deeper conversation, and a lot can
Mm-hmm.
come through that their business wants to communicate.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, and even if you have like two owners or founders in a company, having those conversations out in the open about, and it can feel super vulnerable, right? And it's not your typical business conversation, but having those conversations can be really eye-opening to each other about how, oh, that makes, it makes perfect sense why you show up this way in this situation. And I understand now why this is important to you. And getting on the same page at a soul level is incredibly important if you have more than one person making decisions in a business.
Agreed. I always call that getting into the bathtub, right? Like kind
Yes.
of get into the bathtub, you leave everything, outside the bathtub. So you have like this really sacred space where you can leave judgment, where you can feel safe, where you can feel vulnerable, where you're not kind of operating on patterns, and where you can be really clear. Because if you're giving mixed messages in your branding, people are going to go, I kind of like them, kind of want this thing, but I'm not really sure why I feel kind of at conflict, right? Because if the
Mm-hmm.
business, the owners, the brand is at conflict, it's going to come through in everything you do.
Yes, it is. Well, and that's, people make emotional decisions more than 80% of the time. And so it is that gut instinct, that reaction that we have, that just that really quick, hasty judgment. And that's what creates mistrust. If you ever encountered a product in a store or something that just didn't feel good to you, it's usually because it either is going against your core values or there's some sort of indication, there's some sort of mistrust in it. And it can be as simple as like, you say you're soft and gentle, but your colors are harsh and bold. And it doesn't make sense to our brain. And so we're just like, I don't like it.
I love that. So, as we're wrapping up, can you let everyone know how to get more of your goodness?
Yes. So the best place to find the branding goodness from Wax Creek is either via our website, which is just waxcreek.com, or we have a newsletter on LinkedIn that is especially useful for more, deeper content, which is called Brand Magic for your business.
Love that. Well, I want to
Yes.
thank you so much for spending time with us today. You're freaking amazing. What
Thank
is the
you.
one
You
thing you
too.
want people what is the one thing you want people to kind of take away from our conversation today?
I would say at a very basic level, if nothing else, if you don't want to go through a branding process or you just want to sit down and kind of work through this yourself without a lot of extra research or tools, is to keep it super simple. Just try to picture your business as a person and figure out what it likes. What does it stand for? What does it stand against? What kind of outfit would it wear to a party? Who does it talk to? Is it introverted, extroverted? Does it care or is it indifferent? I mean, just apply some human qualities to the brand. And if you have a business partner or other leadership that you want involved, make it a conversation. And from there, you can start to really have some fun building out like what would the voice be of this person we've created? What do the colors feel like? What kind of patterns does this person wear? And it helps you. I mean, it really is that simple to start, at a very basic level, understanding more of those things and developing that out. And so it can become a very fun exercise. There's really no right or wrong way. As long as it's aligned with who you are, you're good to go.
I love that. I often at the dog park think about what the voices of the dogs are. So
Yes.
I love this because it actually gives you some really deep conversations that you can have, and then you can keep going back to that image, the archetype, the soul languages, to really understand the external actions to take in your business and if it's in alignment. So I
Yes, it's
want to thank
perfect.
you so much.
Yes, thank you for having me. This has been super fun.
Yay. If you feel that you have empathic abilities and you're feeling a little lost, look for the link of the Impact Survival Kit below, and you can get that free tool. I'm Jennifer Riccio, and this is Ask and Answered by Soul, Soul N. I will talk to you later. Bye for now, everyone.